just started following this culture war brouhaha that's brewing over Lord of the Rings, Amazon's new TV show. And straight up, I'll say I'm slightly on the side of the people who are dubious. I was woke before it was a thing, but I'm a little bit anti-woke now, I suppose. A little bit. I want to give every side its due. But yeah, what I've seen of this new Lord of the Rings doesn't make much sense to me. It does look like it's a political thing, and it looks like it's, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I have no problem in principle with elves being like African looking or dwarves being African looking. But it's a bit weird in Tolkien, because Tolkien is he's the benchmark for coherent kind of anthropology, metaphysics. His lore, his fantasy lore is the benchmark. The way that he takes essentially a Christian Western spirit and sort of tells those values through a pagan style epic is quite amazing. And it's hard to imagine that modern young showrunners are going to think of a sort of a backstory for dark-skinned elves and dwarves. It's gonna resonate with Tolkien's themes and vision, and have the same sort of subtlety and complexity in the world, because it's such a well thought out world. So yeah, look, I'm pretty sus, but whatever, we'll see. The whole idea of having new characters is it could be good, but it seems like it allows them to be freer with bringing modern politics to the story, which is, I feel like, what they're going to do. That said, I'm really curious to see it. I'm not really I'm not scared or angry like a lot of these videos that I'm watching. But at the same time, I'm really sympathetic to that view. But you see, Lord of the Rings is really interesting because a lot of the fans are not nerds or gamers, right? A lot of the fans of Lord of the Rings are conservatives even, or normal people, Christians. It's got a sort of broad appeal. And I think it's more the secular nerd community that's upset by this, because something weird about modern secular people where they put their faith in politics, or they put it in Star Wars or, some fantasy product. And, the progressive community, especially the queer trans community, is really into fantasy. And there could be enough of them now, to make a new Lord of the Rings that's not really true to Tolkien's vision, but is sort of inspired by that, playing with whatever kids want to play with today. Maybe that could take off. I think these men are genuinely scared about that. That they are dinosaurs in some sense, and that one of their most cherished stories is going to become forgotten in the popular culture. It's if you want to really know Tolkien, you have to go a little bit deeper. I'm just imagining. It's not I think for some people this becomes more catastrophic when you have a religious attachment to fantasy products, But that said, a lot of the people on the sort of woke side of this are pretty insensitive to, the need for this and these irrational attachments that we have. But anyway, look, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to watch it. Going to see what happens.